Hello and welcome to www.liberianmedia.net. I am Moses Bombo Tambason. I am a Bandi man from Dodo Town, Kulahun District, Lufa County. I am a Liberian. First, I want to let you know that I do not belong to any political party in Liberia. I have never belonged to any political party in Liberia. I do not intend to belong to any political party in Liberia. I am a concerned citizen of Liberia. I want to present to you that Liberia has a problem. There are injustices in Liberia. There are crimes that have been committed in Liberia. Liberia is wounded. And so I have documented this video you are going to watch. I am just simply a narrator. You are going to be hearing from speakers upon speakers. You are going to be hearing from journalists. I have tried to condense it straight to the point to present to you a case that Liberia has a problem. It is about time that the United Nations, human rights organizations, America, France, Europe, Britain, and all peace-loving people of the world to recognize that Liberia has a serious problem. Liberia's situation is unique, and so I want you to see the case and the problem that Liberia has. Take your pen and paper, listen carefully, call your family and friends. Let me just warn you though that this video is very graphic. You are going to be hearing from speakers like Gabriel Bacchus Matthews, Todbot, Samuel Kayendo, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Charles Taylor, William V. S. Todmine, journalist, and the rest of it. Again, be neutral. The purpose of this video, special presentation, is to show to you that Liberia has a problem. This problem needs to be resolved. We must talk about it fearlessly. We must stand up proud and speak up loud now that we have the chance to do that. May God bless you. May God bless Liberia. Watch. Watch Prince Johnson and Charles Taylor. These are the major destroyers of the Republic of Liberia. Watch Charles Taylor and Prince Johnson. Now watch Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the current president of the Republic of Liberia. You're going to watch her now, she and Charles Taylor, how they plan to destroy Liberia. Ellen has voluntarily confessed that she did finance the war in Liberia. She is today considered the darling of the West. Watch Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and Charles Taylor.
It's a terrible human
Ellen
tragedy.
is a war financier, and Charles Taylor is a killer.
Ending the
Watch
humanitarian suffering that's going on is a major objective of ours.
advised them. We have asked great nations to come to our rescue. As the result of this carnage, nobody can come to our rescue until everybody can perish for this country. We are in tears. We are bleeding.
Now, please meet President William V. Studmite, late President of the Republic of Liberia. He was one of the Americo-Liberian presidents, or the descendants of the American slaves that have ruled Liberia for over 150 years. Who was also a descendant of the Americo-Liberian. For your information, Liberia got her independence on July 26, 1847. From that time, Liberia was ruled by Americo-Liberians. 1% of Liberia. They have been in leadership of Liberia from 1847 up to April 12, 1980. Meet Toba.
Talbot loosened the reins of government control over people's lives, allowing a free press, debate, and dissent.
He dismantled, for instance, the PRO system, setting an apparatus, security apparatus, and the press became free. People could say what they want to say. He allowed political organizations, the university students, so forth. So for the first 6-7 years, there was a lot of freedom.
I want to present to you now Honorable Gabriel Bacchus Matthews. Listen to him what he has to say as to what was happening in Liberia. Watch.
I saw this as a society that had remained impervious to change. You had a society led by a political party which had been entrenched in power for more than 100 years. This country was like a tea kettle that was boiling. And if they're all practical people and they want to keep the society going, they will have to open it up. They will have to lift up the lid and allow the steam out.
Increasingly, Talbot became a tragic figure.
Now, please meet Dr. William R. Talbot, Jr. He was the last president of the Republic of Liberia before the coming into power for the first time an indigenous Liberian as president of Liberia. Meet Dr. William R. Talbot. He was the president when the rice riot happened in 1979, and so many Liberians, indigenous Liberians, were killed. They were massacred because they demonstrated in their own country against an increase in the price of rice. So there was no right to demonstrate. You could not demonstrate against the Congo people, against the Congolese government, the TWP. Meet Dr. William R. Talbot.
His efforts to modernize the economy came up against the oil crisis of the 1970s. His bringing more indigenous people into government was resisted by party hardliners and ignored by his opponents. The general perception continued to be that the ruling elite consisted only of people of American settler ancestry.
Now, you have just watched Dr. William R. Talbot. Meet the man who changed history in Liberia. The late President Dr. Samuel Doe, on the morning of April 12, 1980, when he overthrew President William Atrocities, meet him and listen to his first interview after the overthrow of Turbo, the first indigenous president of the Republic of Liberia. Meet Dr. Samuel Doe.
At his first press conference, sitting with his mother, Doe looked less like a victorious leader than a man who triggered events he hardly controlled. He didn't know who many of the executed ministers were, nor did he understand the complexities of the task ahead.
So can you tell us what plans you have for the country immediately? I can't tell you that now. What are the main problems facing the country, do you think? No problem.
If you were to identify one particular area of the country's economy or its justice, which would you say you will become more interested in?
Well, the Minister of Economic can elaborate on that one.
Yes.
Sir, would you be changing your policy or reviewing your policy with the United States government? We'll still continue on the old policy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, next you are going to watch on this video is the killing or the execution of the 13 Congo people that were working with Dr. William Atrocities government. So you just watched that Doe did kill Turbo, the first native president of Liberia. He killed the Congo president Turbo, and then he killed 13 Congo people. Watch.
Another, a tin-horn despot who came to power through the barrel of a gun, whose record of human rights abuses ranks just behind each.
Now you have just watched the overthrow of Turbo, or the killing of Turbo. You have also watched the killing of the 13 American Liberians who have been in authority for over 150 years, that the country has not been developed. For over 150 years, they rule Liberia. There is no car roads leading to towns and villages. There are no hospitals. People die. There are no institutions of higher learning. All of the development, if there was any, was concentrated on the Monrovia because they were based in Monrovia. Now, the video you're going to watch here is, we already now know that Doe was automatically in trouble for the mere fight of killing Turbo, or Congo president, and killing the 13 Congo people. And you have to understand that these people have been in position for over 150 years. They have the contact with America, with Europe, with France. They are the only one known for Liberia. Behind the executive chair, the chair that the President of the Republic of Liberia sits on, it is written, "Do not forget the pioneer children." Okay, so those of you who talk about discrimination, those of you who talk about conflict or unity or segregation, tribalism, well, the chair of the President of the Republic of Liberia is sectionalistic. Do not forget the pioneer children. Do not forget the American Liberians or American Liberians. So you are now going to watch on this video how come the war was not only targeted at Doe, but was also targeted at the natives of Liberia. The war was targeted at the killing and the destruction of towns and villages, animals, culture, values by Erin and Taylor and the rest of them. Why? What did the rest of Liberia do wrong? For your information, Monrovia, the capital of Liberia, holds all tribes within all the 16 tribes in Liberia from the 15 counties. So now that Doe was in trouble, you know, they will have to come back and revenge. You have to understand that. But how come did the revenge not only end with Doe? What did the revenge has to go to towns and villages where Doe has never even been? Liberia is destroyed. But how come? How did Taylor and Ellie plan to destroy our farms, our villages, our fathers, our farmers? Watch. This is where the natives got into trouble. Watch.
At first, much of the country seemed jubilant. A man of the soil, it was said, would finally rule Liberia. Some even went so far as to compare Doe to an earlier savior.
Jesus Christ was born unto a poor man and in the stable among animals. David the Israelite, destroyer of Goliath, a poor shepherd boy. Head of State Samuel Kanyando, a master sergeant. Member of the People's Redemption Council. Member of the People's Redemption Council, sergeants and enlisted men. The analogy is drawn in history.
People came from all parts of the country to celebrate. Like the majority of the people, Doe was from one of the indigenous tribes. His supporters thought of the coup as getting rid of Americo-Liberian domination.
Female democratically elected president is seen as the darling of the West. Her commitment to tackle corruption and lift war-torn Liberia out of poverty won her in.
Now you have just watched the video, seeing all the 16 tribes, the native people, the indigenous Liberian, dancing in the streets of Monrovia, rejoicing over the killing of President William Atrocities, the killing of the Titan Congo people, and the coming into power for the first time a native president of Liberia. Now I want to ask you a question. Do you honestly believe, do you expect or expected that the Congo people or the Americo-Liberians, whether it is Ellen or Tara, that they were going to sit down and rejoice and clap their hands to say, oh, thank God for the native people to have come and remove us from power. Thank God that they have chaos. Thank God that our rulership in Liberia for over 150 years has come to an end. Do you expect them to rejoice? Do you expect, did you expect that they will have to come back? You have to believe that these people believe they are part of us. They already believe that Liberia was funded for them, though we are part of it. And so you have behind the executive chair, do not forget the Powernet children, or do not forget the Americo-Liberians. Not only that, on the sea of the Republic of Liberia, it is written, the love of liberty brought us here. The love of liberty brought Americo-Liberians to Liberia. Now, that is for the entire Liberia, but you and I know that the love of liberty did meet 99% of Liberians at home. And so for these people, unwittingly, unhappily, losing control of power, losing control to the natural resources of Liberia, that they have hijacked that they have denied development in the towns and counties of Liberia, do you expect them to have just sit and fold their hands? Now, so you now also understand that the reason why the war was not just playing against Doe, but it was also playing against every tribe in Liberia. That these people sat down, just as you have watched the video, they also have been watching the video from the time Doe killed Tubber, from the time Doe killed the 13 people. They sit, they come to America, they sit and discuss and have been planning, how can we revenge? How can we get back to Liberia? How can we get back into authority? So you cannot understand that. You can say Doe was evil, Doe was bad, but you need to understand that anybody else from any country, from any tribe that was going to be the president of the Republic of Liberia, taking power from the American Liberians, was going to be seen as Doe, or even more than Doe. So you are Samuel Kanye Doe, I am Samuel Kanye Doe, and every one of you, Grandbassa, Sando, Kipamas, Nimba, Bon, wherever, you were Samuel Kanye Doe. You know there is, you go to school, many of you know book, there is no way someone will rule you for over 150 years, and then you will take power from that person, and they expect that person to just sit and fold their hands and say, thank God. This is where we have the problem. Now, I want you, the next video you are going to watch now is Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Ordinary people venting their anger and frustration. You are going to hear what the Truth and Reconciliation Commission have said. That to bring justice, to bring everlasting peace in Liberia, all of the people that participated, financed the destruction of the towns and villages in Liberia should be barred, should be stopped, should be banned for taking part in leadership in Liberia. Today, you still have Charles Taylor that has served as president of Liberia. He destroyed Liberia, he served as president. Today, you have Dr. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf that have financed the destruction of Liberia, state president of the Republic of Liberia. Do you expect the children, the fatherless and the motherless, people who they kill their parents, their mothers, their fathers, when they grow up and ask questions, where is my mother, where is my father? And they are told, and they are going to read, they are going to watch video, they are going to watch movie and get to know that the people that killed your mothers and your fathers were regarded as heroes in Liberia. They were made to be president of the Republic of Liberia. That the people rejoice. What do you expect them to do? Are you going to tell them to forget it? Are you going to tell them move ahead? So we have a situation in Liberia. As difficult as it is to talk about, it is about time that the United Nations,
it's a terrible human tragedy,
all human rights around the world should come to the aid of Liberia and prosecute and investigate all those who are responsible for the destruction of Liberia. But watch this video first. So this is Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Watch.
International support. But a report released on Monday by Liberia's Truth and Reconciliation Commission could damage her clean image. The panel investigating Liberia's successive civil wars included Sirleaf's name in a list of people it accused of financing and leading the different warring factions. They want her banned from public office for 30 years. The West African president has yet to respond to the report, but in February she told the panel she had met Taylor several times during Liberia's conflict. She also gave $10,000 to a rebel group headed by Charles Taylor, money she thought.
So you have just watched the video looking at President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Now the next video you are going to watch is the conflict is now in full force. So Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and Charles Taylor along with the TWP, the two white parties that rule Liberia for more than 150 years, they have now planned together, they have decided to go back to Liberia to revenge. That is to kill Doe and to also destroy the rest of Liberia. They have to pay back on it. Now, so see Taylor now. I want you to follow the video, okay? Listen to Taylor. What Taylor is biting Liberia for. Alright? Watch Taylor.
The mayhem has never stopped. The country is going downhill. It's ruined. The economy is ruined. Everything is just, it's just taking a backward turn.
If it weren't for the bloodshed, Hitler is back, demanding his old boss resign. And what if he doesn't?
We'll kill him. If he doesn't give himself up, which means that he wants to fight, we'll kill him.
Alright, so you have just watched Taylor. What did you hear Taylor say? Taylor say, Doe must resign. Doe must get out of office. Doe must step down as president of Liberia. If Doe does not step down, he's going to kill him. He is not guessing. He is confident and he is prepared that no matter what, Doe will have to go. They will have to come back to the presidency of Liberia. It's for them. They are claiming it by you like it, you don't like it. You can follow them, good. You don't follow them, they are going to go. Okay? So, now, the next thing you're going to have to listen to is President Dr. Samuel Doe. Listen to President Dr. Samuel Doe as a president, legitimate president, elected president of the Republic of Liberia, representing 99% of Liberia. Taylor and Ed coming back and demanding that he resign. Listen to Doe.
Charles Taylor has no right to ask my resignation. We have a government that was duly elected by the people of this country. And anything that has to do with resignation must come from the people themselves and not Mr. Charles Taylor. So to answer your question, I'm not going to resign.
And that's where the battle line is drawn. On one.
Now you can see that the conflict was now in full force. Now, the logic that is difficult for many people to understand was this blame of Doe. You know how President Doe was ruthless, how he was killing number people and other people. I have told you from the beginning, from watching this video, you have got to understand that Doe just happened to be the first president for the native people of Liberia, and so it could be you. It would be a Mano man, or Gio man, or Bassa man, or Bandi man, or Kisi man, or Grand man, or whatever kind of man you talk about. You were going to face the same situation that Doe faced. So the first strategy that Ellen and Taylor were able to design was from the beginning, when Doe took over, was how they could instill this unity in the Doe government. The only way they were going to be able was to instill this unity within the government. To do that is they have to plan a way strategically. How can they build this trust in the government? How can they bring conflict between Podia and Doe, between Washington and Doe, between all of these guys? And they were very successful at that. They were successfully able to instill this unity, hatred, dislike, and anger in the government. And so once the disunity was successfully created, generated, that native Liberians have now become enemies at each other, it was easy. They just have to relax now and just give instruction. It was now easy to set a Mano man against a Crown man, or Crown man against a Mano man. Doe begin to see himself as somebody being hated by his own people, country people. He could no longer trust the Nimba people. Nimba people could no longer trust him. You know, it was do and die. Now, just watch this video and see how this guy were very successful at doing it. How Doe now begin to see himself as being not like, as being hated by other people. Watch the warning he gave to the Nimba people though when the war was coming. Okay, watch.
Who is considered to be innocent in Nimba at this particular time. I'm appealing to them to leave Nimba immediately, or else their relatives, their children would never be seen again.
For people up in Nimba County, nothing has ever been worse than what was happening to them. The army was sent into Nimba and they would go around all the houses, they would drag out young men, they would beat them, some of them they would kill them. The army would create...
Now, the next video you are about to watch is a very sensitive statement. It is a sensitive statement given by President Samuel Doe. You may disagree because you were not the president of Liberia. You may disagree and say, no, it is not true because you were not the first native president of the Republic of Liberia. Alright? But think about it. Presidents have eyes, they see, they hear a lot, they feel a lot of stuff. So let President Samuel Doe just tell you what he believed was some of the reasons why he think they didn't want him to be president for Liberia. Was it just internal problem? Was there external dislike? Was it dislike? I don't know. You watch. Be the judge.
I remain here to fight the support of Charles Taylor. I remain here to say no to America. America is fighting Joe because Joe wants his country to be developed. Period.
So now you have just watched the video. Taylor says if Doe does not come down, he will kill him. Doe says he will not step down because he's a legitimate president. He cannot yield to Taylor. Now the next video you're going to watch is the killing, the capture. You are not going to watch the capture of President Samuel Doe. This is an historical moment or historic moment. Watch what Prince Johnson is going to say when he was stopped to enter the building where Doe was. Is very educative, very informative. Watch.
The African peacekeepers set up headquarters in this building at Monrovia's port. Here, on September 9th, 1990, Doe arrived to meet the force commander. He had no idea that Prince Johnson, the leader of yet another faction, was gunning for him.
We could hear voices outside. There was an argument started.
Now, on this video, you are going to watch the eyewitness account of how Doe was captured by Prince Johnson. You already have heard from Prince Johnson who he got his authority from, who he spoke to, and nobody could stop him. Right? Ekoma could not stop him. Nobody could stop him. He had the authority to march in and just capture Doe. Okay? You saw that. You listened to that, right? Now listen to the eyewitness account. Elizabeth Brunt and this Liberian gentleman who was in there. Right? Watch.
Between those people who were outside and Prince Johnson's people. And the voices got more and more angry.
Now from that point, the shooting started. And Elizabeth Blunt and Mr. Ivan Face were under a table, and fortunately for me, I was in that particular room they were in.
I lay on the floor along the wall, window wall. And then I could just hear the sounds of this tremendous gun battle, and it went on and on and on. Every time you thought the shooting had stopped, it started again.
When they started shooting from downstairs, Doe came in here and was surrounded by his bodyguards, and they refused, even the shooting, all the bodyguards fell right in the middle of this room. All of them fell on top of Doe.
I had no idea what was going on, and this went on for about an hour and a half. It was the early afternoon. And then eventually it died away, and we waited, and then it seemed to be safe to come out. I came out into the corridor, and there was a sort of washroom opposite. There were bodies in the corridor and sort of piled into the washroom. There were bodies in the front hall of the building at the foot of the stairs where we'd been standing to watch the president go up. And then I was being really stupid at this point. It took me a few minutes to say, but what's happened to the president? And they said they carried him.
Doe! 6,000 crowd! Thousands!
Doe was driven through the streets of Monrovia. The next day, he was pleading for his life.
You have just watched the video of Elizabeth Brunt explaining to you exactly what happened. Now, I want you to think over this. They did not say that it was Doe who was the problem. Well, you have watched now and seen that Doe has been captured and killed. And that happened in 1990. Then you will expect the war to be over, right? Because everything they say, it is Doe. Doe was corrupt. Doe was wicked. We want to get Doe down. Well, Doe is no longer president. Why then the war could not stop? You are about to hear the real problem as to why more than 200,000 other Liberians have to die. Why they have to die? Because of an internal conflict within the same Americo-Liberians group or the Congo group, or the internal conflict between Taylor and Ellen. You have watched the video, you have got to realize now that Ellen is the investor to destroy, to kill Doe and destroy as much as it can be done. You know very well that Ellen even instructed Taylor, she told Taylor to level Monrovia, to level Liberia, to destroy it. There was no indication to say spare the human lives. Go and destroy Taylor, destroy it, and I will rebuild it. Now, after Taylor left on the mission, when Taylor got to Liberia, Taylor had a change of mind. Instead of just working for Ellen to destroy Liberia so that she can come and take over the presidency as it was discussed in the camp from the beginning of the war plan, when Taylor got to Liberia, Taylor had a change of heart. Taylor instead wanted to be president for himself, for Liberia. So from 1990 up to 2003, the rest of the killings of Liberians had been, as you are going to watch on this video, simply because Taylor chose to be president. So it has been a conflict between Taylor and Ellen. Now, but you're going to hear it now from Charles Taylor himself. What does he really want? Is he just fighting to remove Doe, or he really want to be president? Watch.
What he really wants is to be leader of Liberia. His adoring followers, in fact, already call him president. As a former advisor to the real president, Taylor fled to the United States in 1983 after being charged with embezzlement. Today, with Liberia's economy in ruin, with its government riddled with corruption and its army plagued by desertions, Charles Taylor...
Well, the next video you are going to watch is very important that you pay attention to history. Liberia got her independence on July 26, 1847 from America, because there were blacks in America as slaves, and so some people felt that it was wrong, and the population of the blacks in America were getting larger in number, so they have to send them to Africa to find a place for them. And so they were able to get a place in Liberia from the natives, from the indigenous people of Liberia. And so most of the leadership in Liberia have been these same former American slaves or the descendants of American slaves. And so, but the notion has been that Liberia is independent, Liberia is free, you know, and so Liberia have to solve our own problem. The video you are going to watch is Liberia truly an independent country? Does Liberia's problem really lies only with Liberia and with Liberians? Is Liberia truly an independent country? Can Liberia decide on her own who to make friends with? Can Liberia decide on her own who to trade with? Can Liberia decide on her own what to do, what not to do? Watch this video. This is a broadcast for ABC News, an American-based news organ that given the relationship between the Republic of Liberia and the United States of America. Is Liberia free? Does anyone have interest in Liberia? Can America honestly support a native Liberian to be president of the Republic of Liberia at the displeasure and dislike of the American Liberians? Watch.
Look around the West African nation of Liberia, and you'll see echoes of the United States. The country was founded as a home for freed American slaves. The capital city is named after President James Monroe. The soldiers dress like American GIs, and American culture is widely admired. Look around and you'll also see the fingerprints of the U.S. Washington operates critical intelligence and communication installations there. Military ships and aircraft are permitted to land with just 24 hours notice. So it is an American problem when Liberia sinks into civil war and economic collapse. The government's run by a former army sergeant critics call a murderer and a thief. The rebels are led by a former government minister accused of embezzlement and associations with Libya's Muammar Gaddafi. Peace talks now and then.
The next video you are about to watch is the video clearly showing to you how Taylor and Ellen decided to use the very indigenous people against their own fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters, so that as they saved the lives of American Liberians, indigenous Liberians were set against each other, as you know from the beginning. They were able to sow disunity successfully between the Crown and the Nimba people, the Mano and the Gio, and then furthermore it went onto other tribes. So in Liberia, you understand by now that this tribe was against this tribe, and Mandingo against that, Bassa, and all of that. So there was tribal hatred successfully sowed in Liberia, because that was the only place that Eddie and Taylor was able to penetrate. Because if they, the American Liberians, were going to come and launch a war to attack Liberia, they are only 1% of the population. So there is no way that they could even attack one country. So the strategy was, how could they set the countrymen against the countrymen? So this video you're going to watch now is to see how native Liberians were so wicked at their very own fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters. How they set us against each other. How they plan to destroy Liberia as they sat abroad and laugh and watch TV as we die. Watch.
This is what you might think paradise is like. Sweeping palms, endless beaches. But those are not not ordinary beachcombers. The only shells they care about are the ones you put in guns. They are rebel soldiers, members of the National Patriotic Front, a movement aimed at overthrowing the government of President Samuel Doe. Though well armed, their greatest weapon is fear, and they are suspicious of everyone, anyone whose sympathies might be pro-government. These men say they are farmers. The rebels are not convinced. The suspects were captured while trying to paddle a canoe across a nearby river. Government soldiers and escaping from the area. Confess or else. The rebels will do anything to extract a confession. Cries of innocence are ignored. The intimidation continues. The rebels seem to enjoy their work. Finally, it stops. Don't kill him now, one rebel says. Terror Liberians face every day. The nightmare they have had to live with ever since civil war erupted 6 months ago. And yet, to hear some describe it, one might get the impression such behavior is justified.
This is just an ordinary civilian.
See it? A power-hungry criminal who will stop at nothing to become president. Caught in the middle are thousands of civilians. At least 200,000 people have been forced to abandon their homes, leaving with whatever goods they can carry, using any transportation they can find.
They have no food except the food which is growing in the bush. They have no availability to medicines, no availability to water, no sanitation.
And no hope. Thousands, perhaps tens of thousands, have been killed in the Civil War, a conflict fueled by tribal hatreds and atrocities by both sides.
The killings have never stopped.
The next video you are about to watch is a replay of the defiance between Dr. Samuel Doe and Charles Taylor. Doe is defiant that he was elected by the people of the Republic of Liberia. He is legitimate, and so if he is going to step down, he was not refusing to step down, but he wanted the call of stepping down to come from the people that elected him. Was he right or was he wrong? Doe said, I'm willing to step down. Watch as he said it clearly. So Doe was not somebody who was saying that he would not step down as president of the Republic of Liberia. He said, as you're going to watch, he was willing to step down. The people that elected him, if they ask him to step down, he will. But Charles Taylor will not come and ask him to step down. Watch Doe again. Watch.
Charles Taylor has no right to ask my resignation. We have a government that was duly elected by the people of this country. And anything that has to do with resignation must come from the people themselves and not Mr. Charles Taylor. So to answer your question, I'm not going to resign.
And that's where the battle line is drawn. On one.
So you have just watched the video looking at President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Now the next video you are going to watch is the conflict is now in full force. So Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and Charles Taylor, along with the TWP, the two white parties that rule Liberia for more than 150 years, they have now planned together. They have decided to go back to Liberia to revenge. That is to kill Doe and to also destroy the rest of Liberia. They have to pay back on it. Now, so see Taylor now. I want you to follow the video, okay? Listen to Taylor. What Taylor is biting Liberia for. Alright? Watch Taylor.
Is back, demanding his old boss resign. And what if he doesn't?
We'll kill him. If he doesn't give himself up, which means that he wants to fight, we'll kill him.
So now you have just watched the video. Taylor says if Doe does not come down, he will kill him. Doe says he will not step down because he's a legitimate president. He cannot yield to Taylor. Now the next video you're going to watch is the killing, the capture. You are not going to watch the capture of President Samuel Doe. Now, you have just watched the capture and the killing of President Samuel Doe by Prince Y. Johnson. As you know by now very well that Prince Johnson and Charles Taylor were the originators or the original invaders of Liberia, and so when they got to Liberia they had their own internal conflict, and so they separated, but they were still the NPFL. One just had I to A, he just added an I, the independent National Patriotic Front, and Taylor remained. So the video you are going to watch now next is the video about what actually, this is very important. You need to listen to this though. Now that Doe is dead, I want to tell you now what was the goal of Taylor. Taylor already know exactly what Eddie is trying to do. So Taylor tried to steal the show from Eddie. Taylor now tried to project himself to be the one to be president for Liberia, and let me tell you what he wants to do, who he really wants to work with or he wants to work for. Open your eye. It's so sad, but open your eye. Is Liberia independent? Open your eyes. This is an eye-opening. Liberia is wounded. Let Taylor tell you his plan, why he wants to be president, who you're going to work with, and who you want to work for. Watch.
It seemed to plague African countries. Charles Taylor would like to change that perception.
We want to work along with Congress and for the American people to understand that this is not a bunch of headhunters out here in West Africa trying to shoot up a country for power. I have no interest in that.
But that is exactly how most see it, and why Washington has refrained from getting involved. Right now, the war is deadlocked. Neither side seems capable of military victory, but few outside Liberia really care, for no matter who ultimately wins, in the end, Liberia loses. This is Don Cladstrup for Nightline in Liberia.
Later we will talk with the top...
As you have watched by now, you have seen that Taylor said he wanted to work with America, to work with American Congress and the Senate. He is not like a bunch of other people, referring to Doe, bunch of these people in West Africa who don't know what to do, meaning Doe didn't know what to do, right? That was what he was saying, simply, right? Now, the next video you are going to watch, but you have to understand also too, at this time, this was not the original plan. The plan was for him to just come and destroy as much as he can do to Liberia, and they gave way for Eddie to come in and become president. Maybe they were going to pay him or give him some positions. But now Taylor has now desired a presidency for himself. So all this time the Liberian people are being killed. Who really cares? Nobody cares. Our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, our land, our resources are all being plundered at this time. Okay? Now, the next video you're going to watch is the election of President Charles Gange Taylor at the displeasure of Dr. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Whoa, I can't believe it. This boy, I took my money from my pocket. I gave it to him. I financed this war. I need to reward myself. I will use my retirement money to invest in the destruction of Liberia so that I can be president and get my money back and pay my investors back. Then tell us he's going to be president and they're going to have an election. Can you imagine how Eddie was feeling right there? That was not a plan, so we can't get peace. But just watch how Taylor became president. Watch.
Finally, after 7 years of mayhem, elections were called for July 19th, 1997. There were 13 candidates. The campaign trail for Charles Taylor, who already controlled much of the country, led ironically to the Samuel Doe soccer stadium. People sang, "He killed my ma, I will vote for him. He killed my pa, I will vote for him." hoping that a vote for Taylor would mean an end to the bloodshed. Liberians lined up to vote in overwhelming numbers. It was their first presidential election in a decade. When the ballots were counted and certified as fair by international observers, including Jimmy Carter, Taylor had won with 75% of the vote.
And I promise you today that I will not be a wicked president. But I say to you also that I have no intentions of being a weak president during this particular period.
Now you have just watched the video clearly showing the election of President Charles Gange Taylor by the Liberian people because they are tired, they have been humiliated, they have been killed, they are traumatized, they don't even know what to do. All that they want is Taylor and Erin should stop killing them. So the Liberian people gave up life, they gave up hope, and say if voting for Taylor is going to save the rest of our lives, Taylor, you killed my pa, you killed my mom, I will vote for you. The international community sitting down and looking at the helpless people. God created them in the image of God, in the likeness of God. You and I were created. And human rights organizations, you are sitting there watching me and watching my people die and perish. They are saying, you killed my father, you killed my mother, I will vote for you, and they did vote for him. Only because they wanted their life to be saved. They wanted to sleep. They are helpless. As you can see, that did not stop. Even when native indigenous Liberians did the least that anyone can ever think of, that someone killed them and still said, okay, if they can't stop, if this is going to cause them to stop killing us, let's vote for this man. But still they did not stop. So sorry. Now, the next video you're going to watch is, now that Taylor is president for Liberia, you will expect that the killings of Liberians will stop. Did they stop? No. Because that was not the plan. Taylor was not supposed to be president. Ellen was the one supposed to be president. So it surprised the international community, but don't be surprised. The Liberian people are killed, they are helpless. We all need medical doctors, we need psychiatrists to treat us. You don't care? So then the real war began now, the war between Taylor and Ellen. Taylor has to go. Now, the next video you're going to watch is the president of the great United States of America, President George W. Bush. President George Bush. Listen to what President Bush has to say between Taylor and Erin. Who should go and who should become president for Liberia? But yet, Liberia is free. Liberia can decide their own thing. Oh, really? Watch. Listen to President Bush.
That was about to change. President Taylor needs to step down so that his country can be spared further bloodshed.
Now, you have just watched the video. President Bush asking Charles Taylor to step down and go. Right? President Taylor, calm down. So the old man who invested her money can be the president for Liberia. Or, as you can see, during this time, Liberians are killed. Right? They are destroyed. We are helpless. Our fathers and mothers, our towns and villages are depleted. We are in refugee camps in Guinea, in Sierra Leone, in the Ivory Coast, in Ghana, in Russia, in America, in Europe, in Canada. We are scattered all over the world. Mothers don't know where their children are. Fathers don't know where their children are. Children are separated from brother and sister, from ma and pa. We are all so hopeless and homeless. We are treated with all kind of treatment around the world. As the world sat and watched, of course, we are grateful to the economic community of West African states they laid down their lives to save us. Had it not been for ECOWAS, none of us, including me, would have been alive today to say what I'm saying. The slaughter of Liberians was continuing until ECOWAS, Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, Guinea, Mali, Senegal, Togo, Ivory Coast stepped in to save our lives. Thank you, ECOWAS. The Liberian people will ever remain grateful to you. Now, you have heard President Bush say, Taylor should go. Is he Liberia independent and the Liberian people voted for him? He should go? So, for Taylor to go, these are the lives that were destroyed. They continue to fight. The video you are going to watch now is the dead bodies. These people were killed during the time Doe was long dead, just for Eddie to become president. You're going to see the Liberian people taking the dead bodies, bringing it to the embassy of the American government to show to them so they can see what was happening to the Liberian people. We are helpless. Can you please stop killing us? Watch the video and see the Liberian people being killed and the bodies taken to the American embassy. Watch.
Many consider most responsible for destabilizing West Africa had a surprise announcement.
Some people believe that President Taylor is the problem. If President Taylor removes himself, fellow Nigerians, will that bring peace? If so, I will remove myself.
The next video you are going to watch now is Taylor has left the country. Bush has asked him to leave. He has left. You have seen many of our people being killed. We are all helpless. Nobody to talk for us. You know? And so now is the election of Dr. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Hey! She is the one that was intended for the right person, for the right job. Is now supposed to be president. Taylor is taking to Nigeria. Is going to be going to The Hague to be prosecuted, not for the destruction of Liberia, but for Sierra Leone. Oh, really? Well, Taylor can be tried for killing Liberians. So was it justified to kill 350,000 native Liberians? But anyway, just watch the video now how the wonderful woman, the Iron Lady of Africa, yeah, after killing 250 people, she is the darling of the West. She is the great president of Africa. She is the first female president of Africa. She is the best educator, Harvard graduate educator. Oh, so you go to school to save life or to destroy life? Anyway, watch Ellen Johnson presidency or inauguration. Thanks.
So help me God.
Okay, you have watched the video now. Eddie is now president for the Republic of Liberia. So call is now being made to move ahead. Everywhere you go now, move ahead. Let's rebuild Liberia. Eddie come to America. She is welcome at the White House. She is now welcome at the legislature, at the Senate. She has become the darling of the West. She has become the great, wonderful woman. Development is now going to Liberia, and all Liberians are now called upon to move ahead. Oh, move ahead? Were we not moving ahead before? So from the time Liberia got her independence from 1847, that only when Ellen became president for Liberia, that's the only time we started moving ahead? Or we are moving ahead and Ellen stopped us? Are we going to move ahead without justice? Are we going to move ahead with the destruction of our towns and villages, our cultural values? Some are going to kill us and make her president over the people and say, let's move ahead. So, the next video you're going to watch is the establishment of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, headed by Honorable Jerome Verdier. What a decision of the TRC. In other words, they have to find out what really led to the war in Liberia. This gentleman and group of people and ladies devoted their time and energy to find out the root cause of Liberia. They did all their search, wonderful job, and came up with a conclusion. As you watch in the video, that all those who participated in the destruction of Liberia, those major players, including President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Prince White Johnson, Charles Gange Taylor, Alhaji J.B. Kromah, George Bole, Roosevelt Johnson, Mohammed Darante, that's it. I don't really have to pronounce their name right. I don't want my children to resemble them or to even get close to them. Okay? That they should be barred, they should be stopped, they should be banned from leadership in Liberia. Because why? Because they represent an image of destruction. They represent an image of death over Liberia. When you make Eddie as president for Liberia, you are putting blood over Liberia. People can see. If I don't say it, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Books are going to be written, movies are going to be made, stories are going to be told. The motherless and fatherless children are going to grow up. They are going to know that people destroy them. So to stop that, to build Liberia on a solid rock, the TRC came a recommendation to stop all these people from participating in government. Watch Honorable Jerome Verdier.
Truth and Reconciliation Commission, as I understand it, Jerome, is that it's tasked with discovering and revealing past wrongdoings by a government in the hope of resolving conflict left over from the past. Why in Liberia has no action been taken on a report that you produced many months ago now?
Well, Liberia presents a peculiar situation in that the conflict has just ended. The Commission has just over 12 months produced this report, and what we find intriguingly interesting is the fact that most of those who are in authorities are those who have been deemed to be responsible for the conflict in the first place. And so there will seem to be lacking both moral and political authority and willpower to move forward on the TRC recommendations.
We're talking about
Now, you just watch Honorable Jerome Verdier clearly telling you that all the people in leadership right now are the very people who are responsible for the destruction of Liberia. And so, they are not supposed to be president. That's the recommendation of the TRC. Why should this continue to be president? Do you really want peace in Liberia, or you want pieces? Are you telling me, America? Are you telling me human rights organizations? Are you telling me Europe, France, and wherever you are, international community, United Nations, that Ellen is the only person that qualified to be president in Liberia? Why? Do you want sons and daughters of Liberia to follow the sinful steps? To follow the sinful steps of Ellen and Taylor to ascend to the presidency of Liberia? Are they good role models for Liberia? When history are written, when books are written, movies are made towards how they ascended to the presidency of Liberia, is that how it's going to be Liberia? Is that a good model? But listen, the next video you're going to watch is, in fact, is Dr. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf response to the TRC. You're going to be surprised what she's telling you about war crime, people who are being charged as war crime. It's short. Just watch it. Now watch.
In fact, those who talk about the root causes of the conflict, the Americo-Liberian issue, and the cleavage that existed is all covered there. To address those things take a while. So we've put the TRC recommendations in different categories. The category that has to do with war crimes is something that we have to be careful with. If you were to take some persons and put them in a war crimes court today, I don't know what would happen in terms of our peace. So we've said on that one, we look at the example of Cambodia and others that says, yes, justice is important, but sometimes you have to make sure how you time it, how you sequence it. There's another group of those who are banned from public office. That has some constitutional implications. Whether 9 people have the right to deprive somebody of their constitutional right without allowing them due process.
Now, you have just watched Dr. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf admitting to the recommendation of the TRC that this should be banned, and all people who committed crime, including her. But look, did you hear what she said? She said it might take time. So all Ellen is telling you, she does agree that she is one of the crime committers in Liberia, but wait for her until she can serve for presidency of Liberia so she can transfer power to another Americo-Liberians. Then, when she is out of power, you can go ahead and try it. So don't hurry away it. You see how clever they are treating the Liberian people. Now, as we come to the end of this documentary, I have just been trying to present to you facts. I have just been trying to tell you that the Republic of Liberia has a problem. And the problem we have, you can't play politics with it. You can't deny it. It is real. It does exist. And so many of the people that are advocating for the implementation of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Liberia must not be seen as enemies of Ellen or anybody else. We are standing up for justice. We are demanding justice. We are calling on you, the human rights organizations, United Nations, the African Union, Economic Community of West African States, the Mano River Union, the European Union, to come forward and prosecute the people who have committed atrocities human rights violations against unarmed, innocent children, fathers, and the people of Liberia. I'm a Christian. I just want to show you that this is my Bible. This is my Bible. It's a holy book, Bible. I'm a Christian. And the God that I serve is a God of justice. And I believe that the God that you serve is a God of justice. And so if God is a God of justice, then we are calling for justice for the Liberian people. We are not against any. We are not against anybody else. We are not against people. We are against their behavior. Their behavior must be penalized. Their behavior must be stopped. They must be prosecuted in order to bring justice to Liberia, in order to set a clear example or to set a clear criteria on how to become president in Liberia. The criteria must not be that you can stand up one morning and get armed and go and destroy the peace of the people and kill as many as you can kill, and that qualifies you to be president. The God that we serve is a loving God. The God that we serve is a God of justice. No human being was created better than another human being. Some of us are standing up to speak up for the dead. The dead are gone. But remember them and we love them. Eddie is not better than anybody to be president for Liberia. There were so many qualified Liberians that were good to be president for Liberia. They killed them all just for them to become president. We have a serious situation in Liberia. And so I hope as you watch this documentary, you will join, you will speed up the process of prosecuting Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Charles Gange Taylor, George Bode, Prince Ward Johnson, and all those who were mentioned to be principal players in the destruction of Liberia. If you want peace for Liberia, if you want justice for Liberia, if you want to build Liberia on a solid rock, not a sinking sand, it is time to do. Thank you. May God bless you. May this video move you. May you love life. May God bless you. May God bless Liberia. Moses Bombo Tambason. Bye-bye.